Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am excited to be here with you, particularly because there is this conversation that is really close to my heart, or it has made a big impact on me, and I'm happy to share this conversation with you. And I love to hear on your comments what opens up for you, and how does this support your leadership and what you are committed to and what you're about in life. Today's conversation is about the leadership habit that prevents burnout, but most leaders neglect. I want to say most human beings neglect, but particularly people, high impact people who are committed to something and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, right? And create a team around it. This is the one leadership habit that prevents burnout. However, most leaders neglect. Now, here's one thing I've noticed, and I'd like for you to see it in your life and see if this kind of resonates with you, is that most of us don't burn out because of hard work. Now, think about that for a moment, because if you don't really think about it, if you don't really look at it, it's easy to dismiss as improbable or even absurd. Like, what do you mean most leaders don't burn out because of hard work? That's the only reason why people burn out, isn't it? Hard work. But I say that as I watch, high impact people over the years, and I also see myself over the years, uh, hard work is not the issue. Hard work is not the problem. A lot of us really like to be active. A lot of us really like the impact of our work. It connects with us. I say people burn out, leaders burn out because of disconnection. It's kind of it's kind of like we get exhausted. We don't really get, I'm sorry, let me say it differently. We don't really get exhausted from responsibility. We get exhausted from neglect. But let me open this up a little bit more. What do I mean by neglect? As a leader in your life, you wear a lot of hats, right? You're a parent, you're a partner, you're a provider, you're a visionary, you do sales, you do the PR for your company, you do the HR, you care about people. If you have a company, you care about people and you want them to win. You're also a therapist. Aren't you a therapist? Raise your hand if you're a therapist for people. You're a therapist. You're a firefighter. And somewhere in the middle of all of those hats, you abandon something. We abandon something. Here it is. Lean in for this one. There is loving what you do. You've got to find a way to love what you do, right? A high impact human being finds a way to love what they do, even if they didn't love it at the beginning, even if they didn't like it at the beginning, even if they felt like it wasn't the thing they wanted to do, they find a way to love what they do. So there is loving what you do, and then there is doing what you love. There's a difference. There's a difference between loving what you do and doing what you love. But then there is this one thing that we make sure that we're not neglecting. because there is this one thing that you love doing. There's this one thing that you love doing. And it has nothing to do, it might have nothing to do with purpose. And it might not have nothing to do with business. And it might have nothing to do with your children. There's this one thing you love doing. Even if no one paid you, you love doing it. And I say most leaders quietly neglect it. And we don't do that one thing we love doing. Okay, so let's open up this conversation. So we're going to talk about the number one leadership habit that prevents burnout, but most leaders ignore. So let's create a frame from this. Success for most of us feels very heavy, isn't it? You know, you build a business or you build a career and you have responsibilities and you gotta produce a result and you gotta be responsible, right? And at somewhere along the lines, it kind of gets heavy, right? And burnout isn't always collapse, but sometimes it's that quiet resentment from all that responsibility, from that heaviness, from all the things that you got to keep in place, right? And as you continue to keep the heaviness and the weight of all of it, of the company, of the clients, of the family, of the responsibility, right? You get a kind of an internal fragmentations because you got to do what pays, you got to do what is required, you got to do what is expected. However, this is the key. Rarely we do what expresses what we love. But like this one thing that you just love doing. And that internal friction, I'm sorry, is expensive for leaders. So the invitation from this conversation is to take a look, revisit for yourself. What is that one thing you love doing? But like you really love doing. It may have something to do with your children. It may. But it may not. It may have something to do with what you do for a living, but it may not. The key is that you really take a look. What? I love how a mentor of mine will ask me to look at things. He would say, Gio, ask yourself this way the question, how, what, and he used to use the word hell. What the hell? You know, so it makes emphasis on the looking. What the hell is it that I love doing? What is it that you love doing? Here's the danger, without looking at that, without discovering doing that, what I have found with the people I've had a chance to work with, and even myself, we fall into this psychological prison of responsibility. And that creates tension. So here's how this showed up in my life. So building a business and legacy and impact and making a difference is a big deal for me. You know, hence the leadership huddle and hence the way my life looks like. I mean, it's a big deal. And given the consultant I am and leadership and strategist consultant and management consultant, I get to connect with many different businesses in different industries. And it's serious business, right? Because there's a lot of money on the line, there's reputations on the line, there's careers on the line, and people are generous, they're graceful, but they need results, right? They gotta find a way to make it all work, right? And they're looking for their blind spots and they're also looking for mine. They're also looking to see if I'm the right person to support this business and all of that, right? So I'm constantly looking for my blind spots, and I'm constantly looking for where am I dropping the ball. I'm looking at where my integrity is and where my alignment is, and I'm looking and causing results in this area and not causing these results in those in another area. And I can start feeling the weight of that intensity and kind of building kind of a quiet resentment around so much weight of that, so much responsibility around that, if you will, or pressure, so much pressure. I'm sorry, so much pressure. And then I hired this coach, and this was a really cool coach because she had the world record on running on I forgot what the name of that machine is. A runner, like the one in your living room. What is it called, Kurt?
Treadmill.
A treadmill. Thank you, Kurt. Right? She
Yeah.
had the world record. I forgot the name of the lady, but I wonder if she still has it. The world record in running on a treadmill. That was kind of cool. And that was my coach. And she was expensive, but I wanted to associate myself with someone who had a world record. I mean, like, that's a pretty big deal, right? So I hired her, right? And so, normally, she had to ask the right questions and all of that stuff and the usual questions. And then she says, "So what do you love doing?" And I said, at the beginning, I thought, what does that has to do with anything? Who cares what I love doing? Help me make more money and help me make other people more money and help me make great results. And then she was pretty firm about this. No, you got to tell me what you love doing. So as I started looking, I thought, well, there's this one thing I do love doing, and I was doing it when I was in my teenage years, and I stopped doing it, and it's to play tennis. I love playing tennis. There's this, when I play tennis, I suspend life. Life suspends, right? I really enjoy it. Yes, I'm somewhat competitive, not really competitive. I got a little bit good at it, and an A player in most clubs, right? Not a great player, but I can be with anyone. But most importantly, I love playing. I love the swing. I love the backhand. I love going back and forth. I love learning the craft of it. And she says, okay, we gotta put that back into your weekly or bi-weekly activity. And I thought, well, I don't really have time for that. And that's not right now my priority. And she says, no, you've got to make what you love your priority. You've got to make it, because if you love that, then you are willing to reinvent yourself to become better at it. And you're willing to measure your gaps without the weight of responsibility. You're willing to do what it takes to continue to get better at that, in a frame, in a context that works for you, right? But you need to connect your being, and you connect who you are to something you love that allows you to have the aliveness and the fullest expression of yourself without with the connect with the kind of a connection with love and with passion, without necessarily having a KPI behind it to look good for others. What I mean by KPI is without a key performing indicator that you're going to present to another human being so that you look good to them, right? Or they're measuring your success based on your progress, right? So I thought, okay, so I was coachable, and I signed up to a tennis court again, and I signed up to and I got a racket again, and all these things. And she said, but now here's the key. You can't just go there to play tennis. You've got to get better at it. You can't think, well, my years are behind me. I don't have that. You don't have that body. You don't have the speed. You don't have the strength. You can't think that way. You've got to find a way, since you love this, to become better at what you love, because that has a psychological impact in many different ways in your right chemicals, neurons, the whole thing that makes you a high impact leader. But also, you love life differently. You see life differently when you become better at what you love. So I didn't necessarily get got her at that point, but I mean, I was paying a lot of money and she was my coach, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to do what you say. But the impact to my performance, it just scaled up. I got much better at everything, right? And I thought I was sort of, and here's the cool thing about it. It's like when you connect with what you love, and you gotta look, what is it that I love? And you start getting better at it, creativity opens up again, curiosity opens up again. But the weight of responsibility is not there necessarily. It's the love of the game. And it's like an artist, that one artist that loves painting, and it's not about the world seeing it, it's about getting better at making that brush, right? A high impact human being, a high impact leader needs to reconnect with that. It needs to do that in order to keep a big game going and choose to master that. It's not just getting good at it, master it. Here's what happens at the level of the brain, not that it makes a difference that you remember. When you focus on progress in the craft, dopamine releases from improvement, not just outcomes. Effort feels different, energy shifts, and this is the foundation to experiencing a fulfilling and a powerful life. Okay, so what is it? What is that one thing you love doing? I love to hear from you guys. What is this conversation opening up for you? Any comments? Yeah, buts. What is opening up here? I love to check in with you guys.
All right, Giovanni, I can jump in.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
All right, so I have a friend who told me about a month ago. He's like, Kurt, the way I look at the journey of life is like, have you ever played the game Hot and Cold? He said. Yeah, I played that. And you're kind of going without any sight, and you're kind of looking around, and you're trying to find things, and you're getting the cues like colder, colder, colder. You're going away from what you're looking for, or you're stepping in the right direction. Hotter, hotter, hotter. So as they say, in the business, of life, we can say we can consider our role in helping others be the best version of themselves and to be that contribution. So, I take it to the point that we can have this experience almost to the point of like we're the key holder. Like we're involved with other people, and you get this self-actualization like wow, I really left a value. I really gave a boost, to the journey of another person or other people. And it can get very significant. Last week I learned a term that the Finnish use. Apparently it's called sisu, I believe they call it SISU, and there's even a movie about it. But the idea is it's this drive of, tenacity and willpower and, guts and, perseverance and all the things when all hope is lost. So when we think of what we learned about people around the world in the last, 6 years, with COVID, and like how you're speaking to us, we've been able to the last handful of years get into, all the spaces of the human experience, at least the way I've been experiencing it. The recent years have been grander and greater and more empowering to learn about ourselves because when COVID had us staying safer at home, we came into a vacuum. We removed ourselves from all the hustle and bustle distractions. We were able to be in our dwelling place and do more meditating and thinking and reflecting. I was with groups that were expounding upon the terms of happiness. What is happiness to us? How do we experience happiness? How do we keep it? So for me, I like to be a community organizer. I like doing what I'm doing right now, public speaking, and I do podcasts and things like that. So that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy being able to find that role that I'm welcome to by other people, to be able to have the interaction and be able to get feedback and to get responses. Like I perform water ski shows. So it's like somebody can go out on a lake and water ski, but to be able to come in and you have an audience there for your water skiing, and you go on water ski, you love what you do, and then you grab your skis and you come up and you realize there's 100 people up there that they're kind of leaning forward, they're leaning towards the lake, and they're watching you. So here I am, Kurt Ross, hey everybody, blah, 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 and you can tell jokes and whatever, and you get a response. Like think about being a comedian and then they laugh at your jokes, stuff like that. So this is the stuff I love, that when I can role play with people, I can be that role, I can be that boost, and people are giving me that, Kurt, thank you. When people express gratitude towards me, and also to be able to open up and to receive what others have to offer, and then you can see that elation in them that they just delivered what they do to Kurt, and then I gave them that feedback that you can just tell that they got that warm fuzzy inside of them. And so that drive, that passion towards what they do, that, how we can give each other an uplift. So to be able to be a part of those success stories, and sometimes it's about giving the other person the pen, the pencil or the keyboard, and you just allow their craft. Sometimes it's the art of allowing, and that when I can be the audience to others, like I am with you with this show. Thanks for doing the show. I love being in your audience, Gio. Great job.
Love it. Kurt, you're full of life and you're a contribution, and you also do what you love. And there is this magical way in which you have created your life. And what I've noticed is, Kurt, that equation, being a contribution to others and constantly doing what you love and getting better at doing what you love, creating mastery, creates this whole new space for being alive. And I'm sure that every now and then in your life, I don't know, Kurt, so I'm making this up, but I'm sure every now and then you're sitting in the afternoon or in the morning, and then you say to yourself, man, I can't believe this is my life. This is such a great life. I can't believe this
Yes.
is this is what I do. I mean, this is my life. This is my life. And so that's what today it's about. It's the number one habit that most of us neglect, most leaders neglect, and it is not just finding a way to love what you do, but reconnect with what you love and keep doing it and develop mastery. So I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, Kurt. Okay, so here's the key for all of us. Write this down. I'm going to write down myself. Mastery is the protection against burnout. Mastery is the protection against burnout. Here's the number one leadership habit. Regularly practice and refine the thing you love intentionally. Regularly practice and refine the thing you love intentionally. Not once in a blue moon, intentionally. Not when you have time, not when things slow down, intentionally. Because vacation rests the body, but mastery feeds the soul. Burnout happens when output is high and expression is low. However, when leaders consistently refine what they love, their creativity stays alive, their nervous system stabilizes, their identity strengthens, their leadership becomes energized instead of drained. They stop performing life and they start expressing life. And that is the difference. So find a way to do what you love what you do, and then look for that one thing you love and create mastery around it. That's today's conversation. Thank you all for being here. I love you. Sorel loves you more. And remember the 8 tenets for this week to give you a powerful and amazing life. The first one is love what you do, love others, love those you have an opinion about. Keep pouring love into this world. We need a little bit. We need a little bit of your love. Move every day, 10 minutes in the morning, right after you wake up, 10 minutes right after lunch, and 10 minutes after dinner. Just move every day. A little bit of walking takes you a long way. Smile, stretch your cheeks. It helps you to be sexy. It helps you with your skin. It helps you with everything. Stretch your cheeks, smile, right? Laugh out loud. Eat more plant-based, get closer to the trees, hug the trees, eat the trees, and avoid at all costs processed food. I mean, it's really hard. I went on a trip this weekend and I had some empanadas, and that's all processed. But it was delicious. But avoid processed food, right? Avoid processed food. Give your jealousy away, give your resentment away. Give. Continue to give. He who gives has more to give. Continue giving. Sleep every day. I say 7 hours at least. Give it a shot. If you can't sleep, read a book. I know a lot of us are taking pills to go to sleep. Read a book. The side effects are way better. Read a book. Your brain will say, I don't like reading, and it will go to sleep. It's okay to be bored. It's okay to be bored. And finally, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I love you. Sorry, I love you more. See you guys next week on Monday. Bye.